esoteric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it.
Hey there, I'm Social Injustice Warrior the Infuso. And you may remember from my Superman 64 video that I mentioned my friend Paul, and how he'd introduced me to a lot of different games as a child. And this is yet another one of those cases. Ironically, me and Paul also went to see every X-Men movie as soon as it came out in theaters. But forget about that. Forget about that X-Men franchise, because that has nothing to do with this. Although it would like you to think that that's not the case. Because the title X2 is set up to make you think it's a sequel to the first X-Men video game, which was a retelling of the first film. And the cover even has Hugh Jackman on it. And they even brought Patrick Stewart back to play Professor X. But other than that, has no relation to that franchise whatsoever. Just tricky marketing. Way to go, guys. Way to go. Way to trick us into paying good money to play this Hugh Jackman-less game. But actually, surprisingly here, it's pretty damn good. And while they couldn't give us the Wolverine movie audiences knew and loved, they managed to give us a closer to the comics accurate Wolverine, played by Mark Hamill of all people. Which honestly isn't as weird as it sounds. As a matter of fact, it's kind of perfect.
Or maybe more like a nightmare. Can't ever go home again, darling. Just take me where I can put my feet up on the table and nobody cares.
The game opens up with Hamill reflecting on his past with the narration telling us his backstory. You know, the one that changes to conveniently fit the stories that he's in every time that they retell it. That one. That backstory. The gameplay actually starts with you maneuvering the future X-Men directly after the weapon experiment. I'm sorry about that. I won't do that again. His goal is to track down his creator to get his revenge. Wolverine's revenge.
Oh!
He's more like an enhanced animal.
Not animal. I am a man!
I am a man!
When you finally get to the doctor from American Horror Story, he tells you that he infected you with the Shiva virus that will one day kill you.
All Weapon X subjects were implanted with a dormant killer virus, the Shiva strain. Only a fool designs a weapon without a failsafe.
How long?
For a normal human, 1 year. But with a mutant healing factor, who knows?
And wait, Doc, you don't know when it'll take effect? Like you don't even know approximately when? How's this even a threat? You basically told him, one day you'll die. One day everyone will die. Who cares? I'm just going to say it. That's a pretty shitty design flaw that you seem to have overlooked with your experiment here. Maybe you are the fool that you think that you're not.
Only a fool.
Fast forward to present time, where Wolverine is apparently auditioning for the next 50 Shades of Grey installment, or he's just monologuing to Beast, who, unfortunately for all of us, is not played by Kelsey Grammer. Oh yeah, I know, I'm disappointed too. Hank determines that Logan has 2 days before the virus becomes toxic, and that upsets Wolverine because...
2 days? That's my birthday. Maybe you ought to give me my presents now.
Logan? You're going back to the Weapon X facility.
Oh, and hey look, it's Captain Picard. The know-it-all send our hero back to the Weapon X facility in an attempt to find the cure to his mutant disease.
Scott and Jean will fly you as far as Edmonton in the Blackbird. A bush pilot will take you the rest of the way.
But the plane is shot down.
I've called in the airstrike.
And the pilot is happy about that? You're still in there, you're gonna die! Little known fact, this pilot is actually played by that super feminist chick from The Big Bang Theory. I know there's little relevance to that, but it's something worth mentioning, and I don't really have a joke, so... there it is. And you know what? That crash is exactly what you get for outsourcing. Guys, you have a jet. Why did you decide to only take this man halfway? That seems suspect. Seems really suspect to me. Logan makes his way around the facility, finding his way into the Wendigo Cave. And if you don't know what the Wendigo is from the X-Men comics, think the Wampa from Star Wars, except this time he's voiced by Frank Welker. Oh yeah. Fucking terrifying. After navigating your way through the caves, you face the horrifying monster, and even after beating him, you still don't win. You know, so much as you survive. He tosses you out of the cave and straight onto a Weapon X truck. And speaking of Weapon X, I thought it was a one-time only project made by a bigger company. Not the name of the establishment that made Wolverine, but hey, like I said, whatever best fits your narrative. Wolverine somehow sneaks in besides having all the stealthiness of an actual semi-alcoholic Wolverine, and throughout the ordeal he chats with Charles in his head. And what is this guy, Deadpool? Who is he, Deadpool? You know what, forget that last one. I didn't really have anything, and I'm just going to move on from it.
I have reason to suspect that there are others interested in obtaining the information you seek.
Eventually he's found out because, well, let's face it, sneaking around was never Wolverine's strong suit. Even the movies knew that. He's more of the rippy Terry guy. It's not exactly Snake Plissken we're talking about here. But luckily, he's saved by this guy.
Am I supposed to thank you, or are you just a lousy shot?
Let's just say, it's not your time to die. Yet.
And hey Wolverine, you didn't think to further interrogate him? That's it? That's all you need? You're gonna let him walk off now? You're just not gonna get any information out of him? Sure, this will come back later. During his travels, he learns that the scientists are actually at the Void, a maximum security mutant detention center. And all I can think of is superpowers would have made my detention a lot more interesting. As Logan heads to the new destination, he's confronted by Sabretooth, who's looking a lot more X-Men and a lot less X-Men Origins. And talk about innovative. This game actually made them brothers long before X-Men Origins even came out. It's more metaphorical, but you get it, you know. They were made at the same place, the same creators, you get it.
Hey, birthday boy. I brought you a present. Sorry I didn't get time to gift wrap it.
Ain't you a little early this year?
Figured I'd surprise you.
And hey, that was nice of him. My family usually forgets my birthday, but to be fair, that might be because I've never cared to learn any of theirs, so don't weep for me. After a short series of one-liners, Wolverine faces his older brother, and unsurprising to anyone who's ever picked up an X-Men comic book, Wolverine wins. After the fight, Wolverine reminds Sabretooth that he too is dying without the cure. But Sabretooth exclaims he already has it. Or at least the part B of it. And why would they have a cure in two separate parts? This is one hell of a failsafe for a guy who wasn't even sure how long it would take for the virus he inflicted on his own creations to kill them. Professor X sees the half-cure through Logan's eyes and begins to synthesize it. And no, wait. Look, Professor Patrick Stewart, I don't mean to criticize your work here. Lord knows I wouldn't want to be a backseat X-Man, but how exactly do you do all that without actually physically having it? The lone Wolverine heads to the Void in Michigan, where he finds his old buddy Colossus, who apparently has a day job there as security.
I have been hired to, how do they say, enhance security. I cannot let you pass to the elevator behind me. That is, if I should happen to see you. Good luck, old friend.
And you are so fired? I mean, I understand why you did it, but dude, you're fired. That's it. You go room to room fighting and most likely killing all those you come in contact with, and it seems that someone else had the thought to do the same. And seriously, Colossus, find a new line of work. This shit just isn't for you.
'Cause if I find them before you do, they're dead meat.
Sabretooth threatens that if Wolverine doesn't get to the scientists before he does, he'll kill them. And hey buddy, not really the greatest of plans there. If the scientists die, then you die too. I feel like you didn't really think this one through. Sabretooth eventually decides to release the mutants in the facility.
Let my people go!
Those being Magneto, Juggernaut, and Omega Red. If you didn't know that last one, he's more of a Captain America villain. Meanwhile, Logan locates the scientists who surprisingly have been expecting him, and took the liberty of writing up the formula for Part A of the cure.
We know why you're here. I've written out the Part A serum formula for you.
Sabretooth may be looking for you, and he ain't bringing flowers.
And wow, these people seem like they genuinely want to help you. No need to be such a dick about it. I mean, who are you? Me? Wolverine exits the building only to find a boss battle with Juggernauts. And never before Never before did I think I'd long for the days when Vinnie Jones was the Juggernaut, but man, this game does it.
Nice helmet.
Keeps my face pretty.
Who died and made you miss manners?
You can let me out of here, I need a pee.
Better get scared, short stuff. You know you're no match for me.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
This whole Juggernaut battle reminds me of the Rhino battle from Spider-Man 1. I mean, it's basically the same exact mechanic, and the fighting system doesn't seem all that different either. And look, even Logan knows this guy's getting shit canned.
I'm sorry, bud, but after all this, you're gonna get fired for sure.
Learning of the mutant outbreak, Wolverine takes it upon himself to go after them to bring them back to the Void. Mostly because it's kinda his fault. Learning of the escapes, May Deuce, a mutant hunter with the worst name in comic book history, who is also voiced by Blossom, leads her team of mutant hunters in order to take down the mutants from the Void and the one they believe is responsible. That being Wolverine. Professor X contacts Jokerine after locating Magneto in a steel mill. And oh, you are so screwed. You have to face Magneto, the man who moves metal with his mind in a steel mill. And your healing factor isn't working properly because you're in the midst of dying. With Charles even warning you that Magneto's powers may now be amplified. Yeah, dude, you're screwed. You're screwed. Best of luck, though. Thoughts and prayers. And I want to pause the main story here just so I could show you a really fun deleted scene that was made to play out here. With Wolverine running into Spider-Man. And not just any Spider-Man, but Spider-Man from the greatest Spider-Man game of all time, Spider-Man on the PlayStation 1. Spider-Man.
Easy there, buddy.
You picked a bad day to come sneaking up on me, bub.
Rode out here in the chartered bus along with the other superheroes who can't fly or teleport.
Right, and my Aunt Tilly body doubles for Madonna. If you want to help, deal with this chaos till damage control gets here.
Yeah, sure.
It's not long or particularly necessary, but this is amazing. See what I did there? Because Spider-Man and the Amazing You know what, again, let's just move on. Wolverine meets up with Magneto, who's voiced by an Ian McKellen impersonator.
Give up, Logan. This is senseless.
And Wolverine even makes a reference to their comic book past.
I ain't forgetting that you ripped the adamantium out of me once.
The showdown that takes place is every bit as frustrating as it looks, but when it's all said and done, he knocks Magneto out before heading for the hills. And Logan, what are you doing? He's gonna wake back up eventually. I get that you're dying and all, but if you don't do something about him, you won't be the only one. Maydeus later decides,
maybe you are a good guy after all,
and gives you a ride down to the Xeon building for beating Magneto. Well, that's nice of her. Never mind, I take it back. And that's when we find the game's real big bad.
Lady Deathstrike.
Who, ironically enough, would be used in the actual X2 movie. She informs him that the pilot, the gun dude who saved his life, and Maydeus were all cyborgs under her control. All put in place to direct him to her.
Except for Sabretooth, of course. He did it for money, and for the pleasure of causing you pain.
So that she could kill him for stealing her legacy. But wait, isn't she made of adamantium too? Am I missing something here? Also, lady, if I can call you that, lady, why set him up 1,000,000 times over just to have him brought to you? What purpose could that serve? Why don't you just go up to him and it's not like he would have turned you down after the fight. Wait, no. Where was she just then? That doesn't make any... Oh, God. That doesn't make any sense. Then again, neither did her plan, and that almost worked, so maybe I should just hear her out. Logan, for whatever reason, still tries to save her, but in typical villain fashion, she doesn't accept his help, and instead falls to her very, very cliche death, leaving Logan making this very dumb face. As a matter of fact, hold on. Okay, thumbnailed. Perfect. Luckily, Logan gets over that relatively quickly as Rogue lands with a jet, giving him the completed serum while Wolverine makes googly eyes at her.
Nasty. You didn't bring me anything frosty to wash it down with, did you, darling?
I'm the pilot, not the cabin attendant, big boy.
Definitely isn't tied in with the X-Men movie verse. At least I would hope it's not. She's a kid there. Logan closes the game with a monologue about revenge, as Sabretooth finds Lady Deathstrike, Lady Deathstricken. And the rest of the formula, Tooth drinks from the pod and scrapes her up, and wait a second. She's dead, isn't she? What's he gonna do with her? You know what? None of my business. I don't even want to think about it. To close the game off, we see Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse have been watching the events of the game play out, and are now rallying the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Later that night, Wolverine's sleeping in his bed when he's woken by remembering that he didn't capture Omega Red. And hey, yeah, you didn't do that, did you? Man, I can't wait for the next game to see the follow-up to these cliffhangers. I'm kidding, of course. There was no next game. This was the first and last of the series. But ha! Wasted your time. I will never understand why this game got such mediocre reviews. The game is fun to play, and the comics, Cerebro files, and alternate outfits to search for give it some replayability. Sure, the story isn't exactly in-depth, but it's filled with a lot of solid interpretations that are close to the source material. Not to mention all the extras this game has packed in it, including a series of deleted scenes and bloopers. If there was one gripe that I had with this game, it's that despite the title, none of this game is about revenge. Even if Logan's narrations would like to make you think that it is, it's not. He doesn't go after the Weapon X guys to seek vengeance, he does it to save his own ass. This has nothing to do with revenge. It should be called X2. Logan saves his own ass. If there were 2 gripes, it'd be that the Lady Deathstrike reveal didn't really have that much bearing on the overall plot, and just kind of seems tacked on. It was a plot twist that didn't really add anything to the story at all, and just, I don't know, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. There was no build to this, and there was no point to it either. I don't even think that too many people outside of die-hard X-Men fans really know who Lady Deathstrike is. So who is that really for? In my opinion, a very overlooked and underrated game. So that was X2, Wolverine's Revenge. Or at least that's what the cover tells me, because once again, has nothing to do with revenge, but alright, fine, your choice! So with that being said, I'm the Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso, and if you like the words that came out of my mouth hole, and you too want to become a VTard, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this video came from. Follow me on Twitter because, hell, why not? It's not considered stalking if it's on the internet, am I right? And don't forget to join the Discord. I don't have anything catchy to add to that, but just join it. Just go do it. And if you have a free moment of time and a free $1 to spare, then head over to my Patreon, where for just $1, you too could help keep this boat afloat. And if you don't have that $1, but you do have a free moment of time, then hit the share button. It will help me out tremendously.
The VTards, oh.